Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Today we're going to have a live demo of our grocery Robot Cleveron 501, followed by the Q&A session with the product owner Tanel Arvaja. My name is Reelika and I'm the marketing project manager at Cleveron. I'm going to be your moderator for today's discussion. Great to see that so many people across the globe are interested in grocery last mile delivery automation. Because we have so many of us here, I wanted to go through a few housekeeping items before we jump into the discussion, just to keep us on track for the next hour and a half. We have allocated the webinar to 3 blocks. First, we're going to have a live product demonstrations, and then we're going to continue with business use cases with product and service overview. And finally, we're going to talk about installation and maintenance. Depending on how many questions we all have here, the webinar will last for up to 1.5 hours. You can submit your questions under the Q&A box, which is located on the right side of your screen. Please try to ask questions regarding the topic we're focusing on. Even though we want you to feel comfy, sit back and relax, we have prepared a few questions for you under the poll section. Since some of you might not be familiar with Cleveron, then I'll make a quick introduction about us as well. Cleveron is the world's innovation leader in developing last mile solutions for retail and logistics sectors. We're located in Estonia and been developing last mile delivery solutions for the past 13 years already. We are active in more than 24 countries and have more than 3,800 terminals worldwide. We have different automated parcel lockers and robotics solutions in our product portfolio, but today we're going to focus only on 501, which was developed and produced due to the increasing demand of online grocery shopping. We got different inquiries mainly from Scandinavia to develop a chilled locker which would be cost efficient and convenient to use. And after days of analyzing and testing, our engineers came up with the solution to take a reefer container, which is widely used in the marine business, and combine it with our robotics know-how. I'm going to show you a few photos of Cleveron 501, which are already live. But that's enough of me. I'll go and give it over to Tanel, our product owner at Cleveron. Tanel, the stage is yours.
Hey everyone, I'm pretty excited to welcome you today as well. Good to be on the internet. It's actually pretty good weather to show what the unit is, how it works. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff, so should be good.
Yeah, so maybe we can continue. My first question is, what is Cleveron 501 about?
So in short, it's a robotics-based pickup solution for online groceries. To maybe explain it a bit further, Relik already mentioned that it's kind of like a big rectangular box, and what we did, we just took a reefer container, which is used in marine business, and then just put our robotics in it. So we have in the middle, we have this like robotic arm moving these orders around, and the internal setup is that we can house frozen goods and also chilled goods. So we have 2 compartments, but it can be 1 as well. So that's what is it in short.
So I can order ice cream, milk, and bananas all to 501.
Yes, absolutely you can. So the milk will go to the chilled zone, and ice cream or whatever the frozen goods are will go to the frozen compartment, and even the bananas as well. Yeah, these will go to the chilled. I know there's like the saying that don't mess up the bananas in retail. If you put the bananas in the fridge, they will turn black. So the idea here is that the 501 is kind of like a midway point after the online order is fulfilled and until it gets the customer home. So it wouldn't stay in the unit more than 2 hours. So that's the average we've seen. That was the pickup speed.
Can I also order regular goods there, or I only have to order grocery?
So it kind of comes down what are these like SKUs the operators are offering to you. But if they make all the general merchandise items available as well, they can easily go here to the chill compartment if they can handle 2 to 4 degrees. But in fact, we're in the process of getting ready to release the 40 feet unit at the end of the year, which would have the third zone as well, which will be the ambient. So in there, anything besides grocery can go there.
Super. How does it work? Can you show us how does the courier or shop associate can use the robot?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll fire up the unit. We'll show you how to stage the orders. I have a couple of assistants here. I have a couple orders to put in here.
And for your information, it's raining in Viljandi, where Tanel is, and I'm in Tallinn, sitting inside, enjoying my desk and computer. So that's why the video picture isn't that good, maybe, or it's a bit.
So yeah, I have a couple of orders here, and since this is actually a live unit, so what I'm gonna put here is actually stuff. My wife asked me to order yesterday. I do have here. Well, I do have wine here, some granolas and stuff. So this is I will put it in as a courier, and afterwards I will actually personally deliver these to home as well. So UA screen. Well, it's raining. The first thing is I need to identify myself as the courier. It will ask me a PIN code as well. And here in the courier menu, if some orders have stayed here over their time slot, it become our time. The couriers need to take it out. Put in. So we have these boxes to put in, and I'm going to activate the fast loading mode. Then it tells me to open up both doors, fix it on this side, do the same on this side. And the flow I'm showing is that these view crates, these are the standard crates we use, are in rotational use. Is that first I'll out an empty one. So this is empty one, no orders here. And this is my order. I do have a barcode here. I'm gonna scan it. Tells me to interact with this side. I need to fold down the pale arms. I'm just gonna choose the regular zone.
Can I interrupt you? Ahmed is asking, maybe we can get the camera a bit closer so they can see better.
Yeah, can you help me come a bit closer? So this is the next crate. I'm gonna scan this one as well. Put it in this side. Select this will go to the freezer. So the UI will constantly instruct me that which side to interact with, which zone to choose. So this is the third one here. Again, scan the barcode on the side, stage it in the console, fold it down. This goes to regular, and this is the last one here. And I believe this is the ice cream here. Fold it down, and off it goes. So, and you already brought me the other crate here. So this is the fast loading. It kind of keeps me bringing the crates. As long as I'm not gonna press exit, I pressed exit. Now it instructs me to close both doors. And that's it basically. So I had it really easy actually. I only had 4 crates, but if you imagine the full capacity here with the smaller unit is 120 of these. So that takes about, in the ballpark, about 55 to 60 minutes to fill it up. So we had most of this webinar looking at me working here. So I only had 4.
Super. You briefly mentioned the information, what one needs to insert the parcel, but can you repeat them? What do you need to insert the parcel?
So to insert the parcel, obviously, we need to have the order ID, so which is the barcode information. It's just like a label on the crates. With integration, we need to know as well the location, if there are multiple locations. So this is the information that's already pre-sent to the units. Besides that, there's an option to already send upfront the zone that this crate or this order goes to. So in the UI, it kind of asked me that should I want to stage it in the freezer zone or the chilled zone? But if that order information is already pre-sent, it already kind of gives me only one option to select. And that's basically it. So that's the information that comes here to the unit. If I stage the order, the information will be, go back to the operator's platform. And I don't know, let me see if I already had the text. Yeah, I already had the first text that my order is in here.
Great. Maybe we can continue with the pickup then.
Yeah, so the pickup is the same, pretty straightforward. I got the text here. Should have two. I know I ordered two different orders. So let's start. This is a 6-digit code. It can be QR code as well. We have the scanner up here, so customers can scan it as well. It kind of comes down to the operators. So the UI tells me that I do have 2 crates. It's working. It will bring me. Let me see which side it will start. Yeah, this side. So it will tell me that open this side. Take the bag out of here. So I'm done with this side. So the unit went to take the second crate. Well, it's already here. Pulls on the other one. Now I'm going to open this side. Take the order. And I'm done. So this is one order. Let me see if I had the second message. Yeah, there it goes. And the key bit here is that with these bags, it's great to have allocated parking spots right here. So I can just take the stuff here and put them in the car. So from the user experience-wise, that's a really good thing to do. And with the second order as well, and it's the same thing. Just enter it or scan it. And yeah, within seconds, it will bring the first one. I can take out that one and go to bring the second one. Yeah, good. So the second one, pretty simple, right?
Okay.
This,
Tanel, maybe you can show the interface of 501 as well. Kalle has asked to get a bit closer with the camera.
Yeah, I can try. Let's see how it works. It's raining, so I'll make it fast. So basically, this is just a screen to welcome people here. Tap to start. This is in Estonia. It's live unit in Estonia, and yeah, there's no fuss or anything here. Just a simple, straightforward flow. Either type in the code, or you'll be able to scan it as well. And yeah, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any question regarding the robot? Because Tanel would like to go inside and answer questions.
I'm fine here as well.
Yeah, up to you. We can do it here as well. But Elena has asked how you can manage multiple temperature in the robot. So
from the technical aspect is that since it's a marine container, at the rear end we have quite a powerful climate unit. So we'll generate cool air back there. So that's where the freezer department is. And bit by bit, we're controlling this in different ways. We'll allow the cool air come to the front part of the container, where we have ventilators, heaters, and then we'll just mix it up there. And that way, we will achieve that shift where we're kind of regulating at 2 to 4 degrees. So it's sounds simple, but it really isn't.
How much time does it take to fully load the container with crates?
So fully loaded, it should take about 55 to 60 minutes, kind of depending. I was doing more talking today than working, but that's roughly in that ballpark. But if you think about 120 crates, and compare it to the standard grocery delivery vans, which usually fit around 70 of these crates. So with the, delivering with vans, with one fully loaded van, it should be around about 35-minute mark.
Can you explain how easy or difficult it is to install the 501 unit?
It's again simple, but it takes some effort, and that actually part we'll cover more later on. So let's just keep it when I'm back inside and discuss it a bit more.
Maybe you can give some use case examples of companies which have already installed 501.
So the main use case so far has been that the 501 is deployed next to the store, so physical grocery store, and usually the fulfillment process happens in that store as well. And the main idea is that you're automating the pickup service. The other cases we've seen and encountered is that retailers, they want to get closer to the customers. So the 501 is the perfect way to do it. And another one, which is kind of a big one as well, it's something that online retailers or the grocery retailers can use to expand their footprint. It's just the kind of fact that they're somewhat stronger in some regions than others or some cities, and just making their presence felt more in that part or that part. It's much more effective, faster, and cheaper to deploy something like the 501 versus to having to build a brand new store in that region.
But where can I deploy it if I'd like to buy it? What are the most popular and convenient places for customers?
So for the customers, if you think about for us as well, what's the everyday life? Where are we commuting at? So basically, it's from home to work, from work to home. If you have kids, you're doing like school runs, you are going to the practice with the kids. So all of these kind of logistical hotspots is like a gas station, a suburb itself, bigger intersections. So just to keep in mind that what are those common routes? Because if you think about home delivery versus pickup service, fossil fuels or like a Tesla battery, these will be burned anyways. So it would be good to strategically place them in the most used routes.
And what's the expected lifetime for Cleveron 501?
We state it's 8 years, but what we do different life cycle testing, and in there we do it even beyond 8 years. For the climate itself, the expected lifetime is even up to 15 years.
Do you have any? Do we have had any installations in very low temperature areas where weather is less than 0 degrees, or if we have, do we warm the unit to prevent medium temperature from freezing?
Yeah, so I think like Estonia is a good example. This is the most northernest location we have, and even though we didn't have a great winter, it still was like freezing. I think it was like minus 15, 20 at some point, but it's operation from minus 30, until minus 30.
Nicholas has asked the question again, how quickly we can load the whole machine and how many parcels does it fit?
So it fits 120 of these crates, so which are the standards, but we can easily integrate the customer's already existing crates within their system and operations. But to fully load the unit with 120, it takes around 55 to 60 minutes.
Let's talk about the software as well. What software is installed in Cleveron 501?
Yes, we have 2 layers of software. The first layer is what we call the S1 software level. So this, in essence, is the software level that runs the units. So all the robotics, all the controllers, safety, everything as such, and the backend. So this is the S1. It also incorporates within itself the Clever service, which is the service platform for the partners. And other than that, we have the S2. So this is the business level software. So this is something that changes the order information, and the integration is done with to the customer own platforms.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to integrate my own online platform as well, or how can I start using 501?
Well, at first you don't. There's an option to start with the manual integration, which basically would be just sending the order information to our system with like basic Excel spreadsheet. In the long run, well, obviously it makes sense to do the integration. I'm not an IT person, but if you are an IT person, you should know that it's not really a big project. It's easily doable. So that way, both our system and the customer existing platform will exchange information automatically. So it will cut off all the manual work. But the manual way is the really easy way to get things rolling.
You also mentioned the temperature zones, but can you elaborate how many totes can manage per each temperature zone?
Mm-hmm. So as a standard, the M2, that's the model type for the 5.1 with the 2 zones. The ratio here is that we have 30 totes in the freezer zone and 90 totes in the chilled zone.
Mm-hmm. Can you also share the use cases? Which countries or companies are live with 501 already?
So what we can disclose so far is that we have one Danish customer who's gone live with it. They were the first one to trial it. The trial is still ongoing. The second 2 customers who have publicly come out with their PR are 2 Estonian retailers. Coop, which is the first one, it's been live over a month now. That's going pretty good. And the other one was Selver, another Estonian retailer. But yeah, there's a couple other units installed already, new installations coming up already next week. But yeah, nothing we can really say at the moment.
Yeah, contact-free delivery is quite actual at the moment. And one of our listeners have asked, can doors be opened and closed automatically as well?
Yes, a great question. So with the 501, well, we can go and state it's a human contact-free solution. And compared to what our other products are, they can be fully contact-free. With the 501, we're actually in the process of developing that solution that will open up these doors automatically. Yeah, I just saw it today. They were installing a couple of devices to test it out. So we're working towards that as well.
We have another question. When a customer is picking up their order, can the blue crate or basket can be removed as well?
Well, it can, but against that we have what we call a crate locking system. So this is just a couple of sticks sticking out from the console area. So whenever a courier logs in, these are basically undone. So the couriers, they can easily change these crates. But when we are in the customer mode, then the locks are on. So basically you cannot physically move the crate from the console. But yeah, if the operations in the end will be that the customer is taking their stuff with the crate, takes them home, and then later on they need to return it, well, that's easy doable as well. We can just disregard those locks.
And how much weight can be loaded in one basket?
20 kilos.
Mm-hmm. Christopher has asked, can we share the average crate for one order as well, based on our experience?
Yeah, and this does actually vary a lot. The recent numbers from Estonia, for example, is that the average basket size has been 2.4 in that ballpark. And most of them, I think like half of them, or even like 2/3 of them, have had both the chilled and the frozen goods in it. There's statistics from North America that the average basket size is 6 crates. So it can be anywhere between maybe like 1 to 10. It really varies. In Europe, it probably is a bit less. So yeah, there's different numbers here.
Do we have any provision under development to sanitize goods in or out as well?
So if I understand the question correctly, that you mean sanitizing the merchandise itself when it's loaded or unloaded?
Probably, or the crate itself, the whole package.
Yeah, again, really relevant question. The answer is no, we don't have such a solution to sanitize the good itself. But what we have is that we have a kind of like a user manual in regards of the food and hygiene and safety, which we state that the crates, they need to be, or the whole unit needs to be disinfected once a year. And the crates itself, they are usually part of the operator's like food hygiene plan as well, and they're constantly cleaned. And they basically go through a large washing machine. So yeah, the cleaning is definitely in the sanitation part is pretty important.
Do you have different configurations for different environments, like with very hot or very cold conditions?
Well, no, because we don't need one. The unit itself with the cooling and heating capacity, it can be deployed with the same configuration from the -30 up to +50. So that's the range we're looking at. And the heating or the cooling unit can produce sufficient cooling in both the heat and if it's like -30 inside then or outside, then they need to more like produce some warm air.
We have a branding question as well. What areas can be customized? Where can our client put ads, logos, and so on?
Yeah, a good question. Maybe we can pack it up a bit to get a better overview of the unit. As you can see when I'm walking, that we have the Cleveron 501 sign up there. That's always you can put your branding there. In the console, we have these posters. You can put some instructions there, special deals. On the sides, you will see that we have this Toidu robot, which in Estonia is the grocery robot. Customers can have their custom designed banner there, which can be exchanged whenever needed with like seasonal promotion or whatever. And these panels as well. Currently, these are white. So this is a standard painted sheet metal, but this can be customized as well, whatever the customer visual identity is. So there are multiple ways to make it look like you.
What do you think? What is the estimated time number of totes or orders Cleveron 501 can handle each day, taking into account the time for loading and unloading as well?
Yeah. So operations-wise, customers can easily fit 3 cycles per day. So if you think about the full capacity of 100%, so if that's 100%, that will be awesome. So if you have 1 hour for loading, and then you will make it, let's say like a 2-hour time slot for customers to come and pick it up, and that should be sufficient. So you have 3-hour blocks, so you can easily put 3 time slots for the customers to come and pick it up. So that's 9 hours a day. If you will stretch it maybe from like 9 in the morning to 9 p.m., you can even do 4. And if you just take that number of time slots per day times how many crates is in the machine, you will get the number of what's the full kind of capacity volume that the unit can handle per day. And if you divide it, what's the historical statistics or expected number of crates per order, you will get the number of how many customers you can serve per day.
And you mentioned the temperature zones, but at the moment we have 2 temperature zones, not 3 yet. Can you talk about the plan, or what's the plan with the 3rd temperature zone as well?
Yeah, so the plan is that, or the whole idea is that when we are looking at the 20-feet container and thinking about like adding a 3rd zone here, the one part here is that we will actually decrease the capacity a bit. We have these internal doors, and so there's really no point to deploy it here. And actually, we're about to fire up the first 40-feet container within, I think, next week to start temperature tests. So since we have more than doubled capacity there, so the difference that if this has 120, the standard totes, the 40-feet unit will have 330 totes. So in there, there's more room to play around with the different ratios that we have, like again, maybe like 30, 40 crates in the freezer zone, maybe double or triple that in the chilled zone. And then we have enough room for general merchandise in the ambient as well. So yeah, we're starting temperature test and should be ready to release it at the end of this year.
Before we continue with the installation and maintenance program,
maybe let's go inside.
Yeah.
It's nice weather here though, but yeah.
You can go inside and I'll check the answers of our poll.
Right, we'll see you in a bit.
Yes. So great to see that the majority of our listeners are looking for a grocery last mile delivery automation solution. None of us listening the webinar today is really interested in buying a Cleveron 501, and quite many are also interested in selling the robot as a distributor. We also saw from the list that we have quite many distributors, and for your information, we have distributors all across the world. You can contact them and find them on our website. And then we also have our sales manager, regional sales manager, who could help you with whatever questions you have. And then we also have some clients who have already deployed Cleveron 501 and want to hear more information about the product. Super, and I'll follow the next poll as well. Now we're continuing with the value what Cleveron 501 creates for our clients and other retail companies. What do you think, Tanel? Is it 24/7 availability to consumers? Is it the warehouse space optimization? Is it the shop associates focus or the time what robotics can give to shop associates to bring more valuable job? Is it saving money by avoiding individual home delivery, saving time by avoiding failed delivery attempts, bringing innovation to branding, or something else? What's your thoughts on that?
So, well, it's all of these things. I mean, customers can use it 24/7 if the operations will support that. Not sure how many customers would want to pick up groceries at midnight. Well, obviously, just keeping up with today's world with technology being developed at such a rapid pace, just increasing your customer experience scores, just automating and giving them better service. These are all like really good and critical things in today's retail sector. But what I see is, what's the kind of key value what the Cleveron 501 brings is time. And the same thing goes with all of our other products, is that we want to give people time. So that's our DNA. So always the time for the end customers, that's one thing. But if you think about time for the operators, for them, time equals money. And here are like a couple of different scenarios. When I talk about use case, and if you have the unit next to the stores, so you're basically just automating the pickup solution. And again, depending on how efficient the operations are already today, I'm sure you will, kind of go to the next step, deploying automated solution and saving time on your associate, so they can do some, these tasks that bring more value rather than just looking up orders from the shelves and taking them to the customer. So that's one part. The second biggest thing is that if we are going to go with the grocery solution away from the store to the third-party location, is either like the new city or a suburban. The key here is, or how we see it, is that we're going to rival home delivery. Home delivery, in essence, is just the most expensive way to deliver the last mile. So the idea is that, and what I told you before as well, that strategically placing these units and having like smart logistic routes and having the end customers their free time to go and pick it up whenever it's best for them.
Looks like Tanel's Wi-Fi or internet connection is not working at the moment, but hope he will return to the call sooner or later. But meanwhile, I'll take a look at the answers, and it's great to see that that you see the value of being available to your customers and increase the customer experience, because these are the most important aspects of or assets of 501 anyway. But as you see, it has different aspects as well for gaining value. But good to see it, Tanel, that you're back.
Sorry, a quick technical hiccup. But yeah, the key point what I wanted to make was that just with home delivery, the Cleveron 5.1 reviling it, is that it will save money for the operators. So that's the main point, and that's where I see the biggest value in it.
Mm-hmm. I have another question for you. How do we manage age verification for customers who order alcohol and so on? Do we have an IT scanner or not?
Not yet. Again, this is something we're about to finalize. So right now, the customers who are live, they're either stating that or not offering any of these age-limited products whenever they're choosing the pickup location where the robot is. So since there's no way to control it, or they're kind of giving the responsibility to the customer where they need to, acknowledge that they're ordering, let's say, wine. So kind of giving a responsibility. But what we're doing, we're about to deploy a AI solution that will detect how old is that person, and then we'll kind of compare it to what the order is and what's the age limit, and if we can hand that order out or not. So it will be a camera solution with an AI with a app-based verification backup as well on the user screen.
Listeners are also interested in the price. How much does it cost, and what are the typical running costs?
Mm-hmm. So the initial investment of the unit itself, it's depending a bit about the quantity. It started from 140,000 euros. That's just a unit. Obviously, if you're planning a deployment project, either like one or many units, there's also transportation involved depending where you're located at. There's installation costs, site preparations. Ideally, the site, just a parking lot should be good to go. We just need to run a power and data cable to the unit. The typical running costs there are three components here. One, obviously, is the service level agreement, which is what our local partners, distributors are offering. And yeah, this typical monthly costs are data, which can cost maybe like 20, 30, 40 euros per month, depending who's the service provider. And the bigger thing is also obviously the electricity. On average in Estonia, what the price of electricity here it should be around 350 to 400 euros per month. But that's again dependent a lot on both the usage and what's the outside temperature. If it would be a really hot summer, obviously the electricity bill will be higher than it will be when it's -20 outside.
Do we also offer a lease solution?
So this solution is something, yeah, if that's your interest, just look up who's the local partner, or you can contact our sales channels as well.
Can you just talk about the return on investment, how to calculate it, and so on?
Yeah, and this goes together somewhat with the value I was explaining. The easiest way to calculate the numbers is just take the time saved on the store people, and just gonna see that, you know, what's the other value they can do with that time, and that really depends on these price components in that specific market. Well, obviously, let's say like the workforce is a lot more expensive in the UK compared to, I don't know, maybe like some like third world region. That will drive it a lot. Then, you know, just looking at what are the costs to deploy, let's say, just a curbside pickup. You still need some infrastructure built, and you know, what's running costs there. That's one part. The second part, what I explained as well, is just comparing this with home delivery. You know, what are the wages for the couriers? What's their average you know, rate of delivered orders per 1 hour? I've seen different statistics. It usually is around 4, and just kind of seeing that what's the cost to deliver orders at home versus what's the cost of deploying this? What are the running costs, and how many orders you can stage there per day, which, you know, comes down as well at how many time slots, what's the average basket size, what's the fill rate, and that's, you know, 2 numbers we can compare.
Does the price also include maintenance cost and software?
No, this is just the hardware price, starting from 130 to 140,000. And yeah, the SLA level agreement is something that's separate to that. It's basically a percentage from the hardware price.
So people are probably comparing 501 with chilled locker, and want to know what's the main difference. Can you share your experience and thoughts on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I have this customer testimonial from one of my relatives who I asked to actually go and try it out. And if you're familiar, you might know that Estonia is a locker country. We have 4 major networks. I've been operating these for, I think, like 12 something years. So we are really keen to use lockers. We have a couple of local grocery solutions out here as well. And the feedback was that you know, the 5.1 is pretty exciting. It's pretty cool that you have this one user console. We have orders coming here to left and right. It's pretty simple, easy to understand. And she said that I've tried out lockers as well, and they're lockers. They're nothing special in there. Functionality-wise, they're pretty similar. Both lockers and the 5.1 have the frozen compartment and the chilled as well. The main difference comes from the capacity of it. The common lockers, depending, you know, how many modules there are, it's usually about 40 slots, something like that. It can be less or more as well. And as the 5.1 comes with 120 crates, just the cost per slot is somewhat smaller. Or if you talk about the 40-feet unit, it will be significantly lower than comparing to the lockers.
Mm-hmm. Looks like the following questions are more about the maintenance and the installation already. Mm-hmm. And in case you have other questions regarding the business use cases or the product itself, then feel free to ask. But we're going to continue with installation and maintenance block. Tanel, if I'm interested in buying 501, how fast can I install it, and when can I start using it?
Yes, another tricky question these days. With all the situation that goes on with COVID-19, obviously our plans to ship units out, install them, and the same with our customers are piloting in, have been postponed up to like 3 or 4 months here. So, but if we leave that aside, our standard delivery time for units, any unit, is around 10 to 12 weeks. But with the 501, we knew that the market was, waiting for it. They were expecting it. They were getting excited about it. We had a small batch pre-ordered to pilot with different customers. So we had the units, ready to ship either right away or in a couple of weeks, as fast we can assemble them. Kind of like a case today as well. We have a couple of units still open and a new batch coming in. And then after that, it depends on your location. Depends on the transportation. Either you're in the EU, which is just like a less than a week transportation, or if we're dealing about, I don't know, Chile or Oceania area, which is a sea transport up to 2 months. After transport, installation is two. We'll, just as a safety, we'll schedule it for 3 days. Just a crew of 2 people. Since it's basically a sea container, it's a pretty straightforward process to install it as well. And after that, when it's done, installed, just IT testing, and you're ready to live. And the tricky part with the installation here as well, that still we have borders closed, different requirements to be in quarantine. So getting the installation done as well, and all of that, it's kind of tricky to estimate. Depends on the region you're at.
And what are the technical requirements for the deployment?
From technical aspect, it's again pretty simple. You just need a solid floor, asphalt or concrete. That's totally perfect. And you just need to run a power and a data cable.
What about the maintenance needs? Is there something customer can do? How often we take care of the product, and does it have any hidden costs as well?
Mm-hmm. So from the maintenance wise, there are different categories here. From customer perspective, always the one thing is cleaning. And for them, just a simple cleaning test outside the UI screen, since it's the outer unit. Obviously, that should be done even like daily. The inner consoles, just to clean that part. But when we get to the inside of the unit, that's where we need to train the technicians, since it's labeled as a confined space, and some electrical hazard as well. But yeah, no work is done under voltage. So all of the cleaning is done once a quarter. This is disinfection once a year. So that's the cleaning part. Other part is once a year periodical maintenance, both for the unit and the climate. And everything besides that, it's based on the need. If something malfunctions, if there's a crash due to the misuse, something like that.
So if something happens, then or if something happens, the machine stops working. It's a problem of software. Then Cleveron is taking care of the robot remotely, or how does it look like?
Yes. The good thing here is that the statistics we have with both 501 and other products is that most of the issues can be resolved right here from Viljandi, behind the screen. It's in the ballpark of 80%, depending on product, can be less and can be higher. But yeah, most of the problems can be resolved remotely and pretty quickly as well.
Getting back to the installation process and training, maybe you can share the solution you have developed to train people across the globe without physically being contacted.
Yes, absolutely. I even forgot about that part. With the travel restrictions, we had to come up with something that's scalable globally. We can't just send guys to all the countries we need to go. So we quickly started working on an augmented reality solution. So with this, it's scheduled to finish in less than a month. So we can fully train and install the 501 remotely. And our partners, they don't have the need to send their crew in Viljandi as well for the training. What I can do, I can just show you quickly a quick screenshot what it is. So whenever just locating the unit, the augmented reality pops open. You see the unit, you will just see the instructions. It tells you where to go. where to push, where to connect cables. So it's pretty cool actually. And with this solution, we're going to actually test it out in a couple of weeks. Just have the local partners install the unit and go through the training first, just through AR solution.
Our colleagues sent us a message to clarify that depending on the solution, depending on the time due to COVID-19 crisis, we still have partners across the globe who can actually install the robots, and we don't have to be there physically. Just to clarify and lower the fear that all the deployments are paused at the moment. But another question from Barry, based on our experience, what would be the expected uptime or as a percentage for 501?
Well, the goal is with all our products is 99% of the needed service hours. So that's the goal. We don't have much statistics here because with 501 being such a young product with not too many units going live. Well, what we've seen in Estonia so far when the units are actual live and the fill rate is let's say decent to start things off, we've achieved that goal for the first month. Obviously, there are different issues. It occurs, and just a like quick reaction to solve this remotely. That's how we can achieve the 99+% as well.
What about the competitors? Who we claim as our competitors in terms of robotics?
Robotics, there are a couple. Well, one of our, there's a company north of us who are really big in lifting business. They have a solution as well that's robotic based and have a chilled temperature zone. Just recently saw another, it seemed to be a concept of a robotic solution for the groceries. So there are some, it seems, or I at least hope so, that we're the front runners currently.
Does it also have a warranty, and for how long time?
Yeah, so we offer a standard 2-year warranty. 2 years.
Looks like we don't have any questions left actually, or if I unseen some of your questions, then feel free to ask them again because I've been following the question bar here. But is there anything else, Dana, you would like to share?
Yeah, I'm open to discussion here. I think we have like a couple of minutes or like 20 minutes left, or even half an hour. So I know let's propose if someone wants to come on stage and have like a live discussion. That would be great.
Yes, if someone wants, then let us know under the question poll, and we'll see how can we get you on stage. But another question, can you maybe also share some practical tips how to introduce the robot to end consumers? Because as far as I've seen as well, people are quite amazed and surprised that robotics is so quick, and they're a bit even scared. It looks so. It looks like they are traveling to the future. Maybe you can share some practical tips.
Yeah, since Cleveron actually started off deploying our own local network back in the day, which we self-operated, we have a wide and extensive list of different best practice tips. And then just if you think about the pilot phase, where the key is to just get the customer feedback, what it is, how it works, how do you like it, you suggest it to their friends, and then see what the NPS score. Then just the critical bit here is to get the people using it and keep them using it. And as Reiko explained, is that people might be somewhat hesitant or afraid to use it at first because it's new. Maybe I'm gonna mess it up. But yeah, there are like different ways and different incentives to get people used. Either like discount coupons, having good PR, having what's called people next to the store or inside the store promoting or handing out flyers. If you have just like a kind of telephone shaped QR codes, you are just handing out that, hey, we have this like piece of equipment. It's pretty neat. Just go try it out. You will get a gift with this. So there are different cool ways you can just interact with people, and if you see it, it works. It's pretty cool. I can order stuff online. It's on my way, from work to home. Heck yeah, I'm gonna use it. So yeah.
Can our system work on many different power supplies around the world, or does it need to remain in a local region?
If I understand correctly, then meaning like local region, if you mean Estonia or EU, then no. What we, the electrical wise, we have the capability to deploy it all around the world. Either this is US, what's the 3-phase voltage here, the EU, Japan is a bit tricky with different frequencies. We can go everywhere with this.
Is it also possible to have a 501 sized solution without the chillers?
Well, yeah. Basically, what we can do, we can just mount off the climate unit and just use it as it is. So yeah.
Can we also, or can clients use units inside city centers as well?
Yeah, if there's room, if the room permits, obviously there's some service area requirements, and it kind of probably goes against some of these city regulations as well. How long, how wide the pathway or the walkway needs to be. So it really depends the location. If it's like a square, that would be perfect location for that. If it's let's say a busy business district, which makes total sense. So you will just be at work the whole day, easily order your online orders to that unit, and when you're starting to go from home to home, you can just pick it up from there. So it's just like a matter of finding the space and making sure that you're not stepping on anyone's toes in the city council.
What if we have a situation where people are waiting for their orders, but shop associate or a courier is loading the machine? Do we have another door or like a alternative door to load the machine?
No, but yeah, it's actually an interesting question. What's in our kind of roadmap or the pipeline, so to speak?
Looks like Tanel is offline again, but while he's getting back, I encourage you to ask questions as well. And he died with your question as well. Yeah, it's such a cute question, but he will definitely have a great answer for a great question as well. But for your information, I really encourage you to ask questions, because otherwise we will finish our webinar a bit earlier than expected, because time is money. We're not just being here answering our own questions. Looks like he has lost connection. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, welcome back.
Yeah. I was on hotspot and it kind of died on me.
Yeah, Christopher also commented that you died with his question.
No, I'm well alive, so no worries. But yeah, it's kind of like one of our ideas to have the bulk insertion, so to speak. But here as well, there are a couple of best practice tips from the operation perspective, operators should follow. One thing is that when you're allocating time slot for pickups, then you will already state from 10 in the morning to 11, you're loading the unit, and you start offering the pickup times to customers from 11 a.m. to, let's say, this 2-hour slot, and 1 p.m. So you're not crossing these two operations. And the other part, and that's similar to the other parts as well we have. Our suggestion always is that since the loading is pretty simple and it's so simple for you to just log out for a sec, have the customer take their order in half a minute, in a minute, and then they're off they go, and you can just continue with your work. So this is again a strong suggestion what we always do.
Another interesting question, do we have any plans to put 501 on wheels and develop it as an autonomous delivery machine?
Well, yeah, interesting question. Actually, in our manufacturing, we put the container on the wheels to move it around. But yeah, the operable area gets so high, it's not too convenient. But yeah, really interesting idea.
Mm-hmm. And Mick has asked the question regarding the surface. What is required to install 501? You briefly mentioned it, but maybe you can specify.
Yeah, so it needs to be a solid ground. Asphalt is good. Concrete is perfect. And whenever in different regions there are requirements to anchor the unit, then it must be concrete. So then we're talking about seismically potential areas with high wind speeds. So these are the areas you need to anchor, and that's when you need concrete.
What's our estimate for the global market values for the 501 APM within 5 or 3, 10 years?
Yeah, another interesting question. Obviously, we see that it will grow, similar to what we're seeing with the general merchandise pickup solution. What we have with we started with the 300 series. We started with our network. It exploded to neighboring countries and all around the world. We saw it with the 400 series. You can just bring the example of the Cleveron 401. We launched it in 2016, and today we have live units, 1,500 something, close to 1,600 units, and that's within 3 or 4 years now. This is always the goal of ours to reach that level and beyond that with the 501 as well. And definitely the potential is there, the need or the demand is there.
But when you last time lost your connection, then maybe you were answering the question, but we didn't hear it. Maybe you can re-answer it. What happens if there's a queue of clients waiting for their orders, but the courier or shop associate is loading the machine?
Mm-hmm. So the best practice tips here is two things. One is that, from the operations perspective, don't mix loading process, just allocate a specific time slot for that. So a 1 hour time slot for that, and offer the pickup slot for the customers afterwards that. So 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever the slot should be. So don't mix these two. So basically with that, you wouldn't have that issue. But if you do, again, our strong recommendation is that for the courier, it's really easy to just log out in the session, have that customer take their order, off they go, they're happy, and you can just continue with loading the new crates.
And how soon can 501 be available if a client is ready to purchase or lease it right away to North America?
Well, I know that we should have 2 units available in 2 weeks that are not reserved. But other than that, we should still count on the basic time frame for the lead time, which is 10 to 12 weeks. If you have something in stock and we are pre-ordering some, then yeah, that is usually a matter of now or a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. And for everyone's information, we are going to send the recorded webinar link to all of you, even to those who couldn't participate today. So you can share the link with your colleagues and so on if needed, because many of you have asked it under the question tab. But we have another question. Do we also have a COD option on the console of 501?
Another really good question. The answer currently is no. We don't have cash on delivery options at the moment. There have been requests for this, and not just for the 501. It's mainly requested for the 400 series. And yeah, it's in the pipeline. Someday we'll have it, but the whole idea with, especially with the 501, it's just the pickup solution. We have like another product which is aimed towards that, where we can use the 501 or the other products as vending machines. So the unit is preloaded with like a pre-assembled food packages or general merchandise items, and these can be purchased on site, paid for it, and then they can retrieve it from the unit. So it's kind of like combining two different pieces of hardware.
Great. Another question from Kelly. How do you control or monitor the temperature inside the machine? What happens when temperature rises above or falls below the required levels?
So yeah, a really critical question from the food safety perspective. Internally, we actually have a bunch of different temperature sensors. And I briefly explained earlier how we control the air, freezing air in the back, and how we kind of let it come in the front part bit by bit, and then we.
Something happened? Technically.
So I'm gonna go like the.
The microphone is not working. Maybe you can connect. Do you hear us or me? Okay. Maybe you can leave the stage for a second and then come back, because otherwise we are going to entertain us too much. Meanwhile, I'm preparing other questions. And feel free to ask your last questions as well. But currently we don't have live units in North America yet. But yeah, I even don't have comments on that. Okay, hope Donna will join us again, and you can still ask your questions, so we can wrap them up later when Donna is back with us.
I'm back again.
Super, but I already briefly answered the question regarding the live units in North America. I answered that they are not live yet, but maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, that's basically correct, and I know where it is, but I can't tell you at the moment. Sorry.
Yeah. Have we thought about the ergonomics of the unit, and can people with disabilities use 501 as well?
Absolutely. So 501 itself and all of our other products again are designed, from the sketch, keeping in mind different standards. So we are, for example, accordance with the ADA standards. so Americans with Disabilities Act, which basically the reach ranges, the height where the UI is, and then where the people need to kind of kneel to get their stuff. So that's everything within the limits. So also we have a audio check, so visually impaired people can use all of our products as well independently.
Do we also have any limitation or suggestions about the products to put inside? For example, are eggs also allowed?
Yeah, eggs are absolutely fine. Definitely there is a risk when putting in these. For example, when you saw it before that my order was in paper bags, and with the standard height paper bag, it can't go standing up. You need to lay it on the ground. So this is one kind of like risky bit where something can fall off the paper bag and eggs can crack. I've actually ordered eggs to the unit. It was all good. What we actually do limit is basically a really standard requirements that no explosive or hazardous materials can be put in. When it comes to the standard groceries, there's really no limits here.
Mm-hmm. Great, but I think we have done for today, and we can conclude the live webinar today. Thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll forward you the recorded link so you can share it with others, and hope to see you again next time. We have webinars quite often these days due to the COVID crisis as well. So feel free to listen to other webinars about lockers and other robotics solutions as well. Thank you, and thank you, Donald, for being such a great speaker.
Yes, thank you guys. It's been my pleasure.